Welcome everyone to a new episode of Leveraging Real Estate for Freedom. Today we are going to talk about this article that talks about landlords taking action against local government agencies and states because they've ended, the government assistance programs for non-paying tenants. Initially, government and local states governing agencies placed a lot of restrictions on landlords where we as a landlord cannot exercise our rights to either evict a tenant or to run our business, right? Because if a tenant doesn't pay rent and we cannot evict them, they're handicapping our ability to operate our business. And the government came up with a solution, a temporary band-aid, to say, hey, we're going to provide government funding so that we help you pay for the rent that the renters are not paying. And you have to jump through hoops to get into these programs and get funding. It's not instant. It takes months and months and months. However, there's a slight possibility that you will be able to receive this type of funding, but go ahead and fill out 20,000 documents and get on your way. And so for landlords, initially, we apply for these programs. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. However, this program have now stopped funding, stopped applicants, and that creates an issue. And so the issue is a lot of landlords now cannot obtain funding from the government and they cannot operate their business because government put a handicap on their business. Let's just flip the script for a moment. Renters are equivalent to employers now. So let's just say landlords now become employees and renters usually pay rent to the landlord, right? Employers pay paychecks to the employees, correct? Majority of you guys are watching. Most likely you're employed, you're on W-2, you're getting paid on a weekly basis or every 2 weeks or a month, whatever it is, you receive a paycheck. Okay, let's just say your employer now have an exemption from state, from local government saying that, you know what, due to COVID, your business has now run into troublesome waters or it has run into some issues. And now there's a leeway for the employers to not have to pay the employees your paychecks. Just like how the government says, hey, there's a moratorium, renters, if you have any type of hardship, you no longer have to pay the landlord. So now corporations and companies that you work for do not have to pay you your paycheck. However, the paycheck that they pay you or doesn't pay you is owed to you and will get paid to you eventually, okay? Let's just say that's the case because that's how the government is making it for us landlords now. They're saying that, hey, the tenants don't have to pay rent, but eventually they'll pay you somehow. They'll pay you back. And in the meantime, the government will step in to provide you with assistance. But now you as an employee, you have to go through, jump through hoops, file for all sorts of applications, and hopefully you get, approved, and the government will pay you what your employers owe you. And suddenly, this program ends. However, the employer still don't have to pay you your paycheck. You as the employee, you have your car payment, you have your rent, you have your mortgage, you have your expenses, your credit card bills, you have to pay for food, you have to pay for all of your living expenses. What about your kids' education? Imagine all your expenses, all of your burdens are still up to you to take care of. However, your employer now do not pay you your paycheck. What are you going to do? Okay, at this time, what do? Do you go after the government? Like, what do you do? And so that's why there's this lawsuit right now because essentially the government, local government, state has crippled landlords' option to mitigate any problems, right? There was a eviction moratorium. Landlords couldn't get non-paying tenants out. There was some state assistance, but now they shut down the state assistance, no longer accepting applicants. And tenants who are not paying rent or who choose not to pay rent or who cannot pay rent is not paying their rent, right? And so now landlords, we're left with the bag. That means we have all these expenses, property taxes. If you don't pay property taxes, the government will take your house. You have all these bills. You have, SMUD, PG&E, all these different companies that can put a lien on your house saying that you owe them this amount of money. Now, if the tenants don't pay rent, how does the landlord pay for all the expenses? Most people just say, well, you're a landlord, you'll take care of it. But for most landlords that are mom and pop landlords, they're left with a huge amount of obligations with no way to take care of the obligations because the rents are not being paid and they cannot do anything with the renters who are not paying rent. Right? Do you see the issue there? So going back to the example, if your employer stopped paying you and you cannot make your employer pay, and you cannot go find a new employer because you can't get rid of them. The government says you can't go find a new employer. You have to stick with your current employer. What are you going to do? It creates a huge dilemma and it creates a huge problem. And these lawmakers, okay, a lot of lawmakers, they're so idiotic. They have one way of looking at things. We have to protect the tenants. Okay, what about the landlords that pay you all your property taxes and drives government funding? How about that? They don't think about that. Thank you guys so much for watching. And watching these videos, obviously, you're watching with the intent to learn, or you're watching with the intent to criticize, or you're just watching to watch. At any given time before passing judgment, try to trade places with one of us, right? If you're a renter, trade places with the landlord. If I'm a landlord, I always try to look at things from a different perspective to make sure that I have a comprehensive view of the situation. I'm sympathetic to the renters who really ran into hardship and who cannot find jobs or employment. And for those renters who cannot pay rent, I understand. If you just talk to your landlord, most likely you will be able to work with your landlord to come up with some type of solution, okay? However, I'm not sympathetic to those renters who are purposely not paying rent and who are looking to game the system. These people take advantage of the system, they drag society down as a whole. For me, I am just 100% against these people who try to game the system. I hope karma gets you, because for all the benefits that you obtain by hurting somebody else, I hope one day that karma bites you in the ass. Anyways, for all the audience, please trade places and look at things in different perspectives. Please leave your comments and your thoughts in the comment section below. If you're going through personal issues that relates to real estate, that relates to renters, relates to landlord, feel free to ask us, right? I will be on both sides of the fence. I will be there to help you as the renter, and I will be there for the landlords to help defend against these people who try to get in the system. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. Until next time.